Space. It's the final frontier. But what happens when that frontier becomes a battleground? A high-altitude nuclear detonation, or HAND, is a terrifying possibility. Imagine a nuclear weapon detonating high above Earth. It wouldn't cause the same kind of devastation as a ground-level explosion. There would be no blast wave, no fallout, but the effects would be catastrophic in a different way. A HAND would unleash an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP. This pulse would fry electronics across a vast area. Satellites, our eyes and ears in orbit, would be particularly vulnerable. Imagine losing GPS navigation, communication networks, and military intelligence all at once. The chaos would be unimaginable. But HANDs aren't the only danger from above. Anti-satellite weapon tests are another growing concern. These tests create dangerous space debris. This debris can stay in orbit for years, even decades. It poses a constant threat to operational satellites. Even a small piece of debris can cause significant damage at orbital speeds. The reality is that space is becoming more crowded and contested. The potential for conflict is increasing. We must be prepared for these threats. Ignoring them is not an option. Satellites are essential to our modern world. They connect us, guide us, and protect us. But they are also incredibly vulnerable. Most satellites, especially those in low Earth orbit or LEO, are lightly shielded. They were designed for a time when space was more benign. A single hand could cripple our entire satellite infrastructure. The economic and military consequences would be devastating. We are overly reliant on these systems. Losing them would be like losing electricity or the internet. And it's not just about the satellites themselves. The data they transmit is also at risk. Financial transactions, military communications, even personal messages all travel through space. This information is a prime target for disruption or interception. The vulnerability of our space assets is a serious concern. We need to take steps to protect these critical systems. Our security and prosperity depend on it. Space is no longer just a scientific playground, it's an integral part of our daily lives. We rely on space for communication, navigation, weather forecasting, and much more. Space-based technologies drive our economies and connect us globally. The increasing activity in space is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it represents progress and innovation. Commercial spaceflight is booming. New technologies are being developed at a rapid pace. This is a positive development for humanity. But this progress also creates new vulnerabilities. The more we rely on space, the more we have to lose. A disruption in space could have cascading effects on our planet. It could cripple economies, disrupt governments, and even lead to conflict. The stakes in space are higher than ever before. We need to recognize the importance of space security. Protecting our assets in orbit is no longer optional. It's essential for our future. So, how do we protect ourselves? The first step is to acknowledge the threat. We can't ignore the potential consequences of a space conflict. We need to take proactive steps to mitigate the risks. One solution is to harden our satellites against attack. This means making them more resistant to EMPs and other forms of interference. We also need to develop better ways to track and manage space debris. International cooperation is also crucial. No single nation can solve these problems alone. We need to work together to establish norms of behavior in space. We need to treat space as a global commons, not a potential battleground. Protecting our future in space requires a multifaceted approach. We need to invest in new technologies, strengthen international partnerships, and develop comprehensive space security policies. The time to act is now. Our future depends on it.